G'day guys. Today I wanted to show you what the hourly rate calculation is and how to work it out, and then we can move forward and then change it into a meter rate or a foot rate, depending where you are in the world and how it works for you. Most of us fencers always charge by a piecemeal or a lineal foot or meter rate, maybe a kilometre rate, maybe a mile rate if you're out in the sticks doing some rural fencing. But that's how we generally work it. And this is something for 20 odd years that I didn't understand completely. I knew how to work out my and was wondering why I was stuck for so long doing the same thing as everybody else, and it was just not right. So hourly rate calculations is the easiest way to work out your formula is the business expenses annually for a year divided by the billable hours equals your cost per hour, basically. So this is how we want to sort of work it out. We want to work out your labor billable times the efficiency rate. Efficiencies change from different types of jobs that you're doing, but generally what I mean here by your efficiency is that if you've got an employee, you are not going to be able to charge him out at 100%, for 52 weeks of the year, 365 days. So at best, we're probably looking around the 55 to 60%. There's studies on that on the internet. I haven't made that up. That's just what the sort of going rate is. Generally, you're looking at about 2,000 hours annually. So what I want to do here is do an example for you. We have two workers at 2,000 hours equals 4,000 billable hours. And how we're going to sort of work that is we're going to push that over to here. So we've got our business expenses, and now an example one, small business expenses cost, operating expenses are costing about 150,000 for the year. So that includes your power, your fuel, your employees, your lights, phone, uniforms, everything that you need to operate your business to go out and earn a dollar. So that's what it earns. That's what the business expenses are. So it's 150,000 in this example. We've just worked out we've got two workers, yourself and offsider. So your billable hours are about 4,000, equals about $37.50. So that's your cost. So what we want to do then with the cost is that's your cost to break even. Okay, so that's before if you charge yourself out at $37.50 for each person, then you'll break even and you'll be able to pay your bills. But that's not what we're about. We want to make a profit. So a lot of people are trying to make 30%, 40% profit. It's up to you. For residential fencing, I like to be market between sort of 50, 55%. Commercial, I like to be between 35 to 40%, and then I bring my civil work. If I'm doing bigger stuff, I'm back down around the 25 to 85. And that's my target. That's what I aim for. I don't always get it, but that's what I try and aim for. And to do that, as I said, target profit here is 40%. So we do our cost divided by 0.6 equals 62.50. Now, why 0.6 is 60%, 40%. So if it was 30%, you'd divide it by 0.7. If it was 70%, you'd divide it by 0.3. If it's 50%, 0.5. So that's clear mathematics. It makes it clear. So then if you each person at $62.50, you would make a profit of 40% in your business, basically, for everything you did. Plus, hopefully, you're making profit on your materials as well. Okay, so that's example one. We'll jump into a bigger example, and we'll do example two and say it's $1 million turnover. So operating expenses, OPEX, that's what I like to call it, OPEX, $1 million. We now have, say, 6 workers to get to that $1 million. Again, 2,000 hours each equals to 12,000 hours. So we've done million divided by 12,000 equals a cost of $83.33 per hour. So it's jumped a lot higher, and we need to cover off a lot more bills. We might have sheds to rent, machines to operate, things like that. So OPEX is going through the roof. So hopefully we need to create that ratio and get it a lot higher. Then we want the 40%, so we divide it by 0.6. Again, it gives me an operating cost of, or a charge out cost now per person of $138.88. So that's simple maths. You can just follow that one along. Makes it nice and easy. Then what I want to do is I want to turn this $138.88 into a meter rate or a foot rate. As I said at the start, a lot of us charge by the lineal meter. The formula for this is your meters installed per hour divided by your billable hourly rate. Now, again, this is a little bit of a guesstimate because the formula is right, but it's a guesstimate of what each employee can do per hour. So I've done this here. Like if an employee installs 6 meters per hour, their calculation would be as follows: 138.88 divided by 6 equals $23.06 foot per meter, whatever you want to, whatever you're doing in your place of business. So what I've done then is I turn around and take that figure, and it changes. Let me be clear on this. It changes drastically in your terrain. It changes with your weather. It can change with the number of people you got on site, because now if you're charging $23.06 per meter for, say, a timber paling fence, and you have 6 people, they may not be doing 6 meters per hour. They may do 10 meters per hour for the 6 of them. Vice versa, you may then have 6 people on that side, or 4 people on that side and 2 people on another side. So your rates have to change considering. So if you did that by 2 people and they were doing, say, not people, if they were doing only 2 meters per hour of installation, your rate's going to be around the $69, $70, not far off $70 an hour per person. So you can see how it fluctuates dramatically just depending on what they can actually get installed in that time. And a lot of us do it a little bit differently as well. So some crews have posting crews who will go in and post, and then have another crew that comes in behind and backs up and finishes it off. Other people will post in a day, if they're doing concrete, let it set, let it go hard, come back the next day. So it still has to average out. You have to average out your full job. So you take it over a couple of days or whatever that job costs you in time, and then you work out your time as your billable hourly rate. Okay, so if it takes you, say, 10 meters and say a 100 meter job or a 100 foot job, and you've worked out it takes 10 days, for example, and this is just a fast stretch, but 10 days, and then you've got 10 feet per hour, basically, or it takes 10 hours, not 10 days. You've got 10 feet per hour, then you divide it by your billable rate. Then you'd end up with $13.88 an hour. So you can just see how it changes dramatically, but that's how you sort of work that out. Then put it into a cost analysis, which I have at the Profitable Fencer. I have a lot of templates that I use for each type of job that we do. And we put that cost in there and double check it against the pricing of the job, so we can see whether we're in the market or not in the market, and see if we're making profit or not making profit. So this is huge, the way we do it now, because before it was guesswork. Now it's mathematical and it's science-based on what we can actually achieve, and then I can track it. So the way I track it now is we'll do a back costing of the job. I do my quote based on my figures that I know that I need to get to run the business. I then do my quote. I then do a profit and loss on that job and a back costing after that job's finished. And then I work it out on how many hours the guys were on that site to actually do that job. So if I need to change my labour rates or my cost per metre, I can do that. That way it gives me a lot of freedom to sort of move around, and I can actually nail my jobs pretty hard and know exactly what's happening. So I hope you found that a bit of interest. That's how we do our hourly rate calculations. And you can sort of work it from there to get exactly what I want. If your guys aren't doing 2,000 hours a year. That's just a guesstimate number, so you can just put in what they're doing. But again, that's how we work it out. So hope that helps. If you want to know more, I said Profitable Fencer. We've got templates. We've got everything there. Hope you get some value out of that. Cheers.